It was 1 year ago today that Project Cars 2 was released to the world, and today, on the anniversary of Project Cars 2's release, we are racing at the 4th round of the Aus-NZ Combined Supercars Championship. Now, round 4 takes us once again back to Japan, and this time we're at the short track in the Miyagi Prefecture. This is Sportsland Sugo, and Sportsland Sugo is a track that has seen, I believe, motorcycle action. It's seen Super GT, it's seen Super Formula, and now today it will see some Aus-NZ Combined Supercars action. Hello everybody, my name is Gear 3 Gaming, and as I said before, welcome along to round 4 of the Aus-NZ Combined V8 Supercars Championship. We are in the first practice session for the night and getting ready for the sprint race, which will be happening, well, a little bit later in the evening. And unfortunately it's just me in the commentary box tonight and me doing the directing, so I'm all alone and lonely, but we will still get to see some awesome supercars action. And currently we're watching on board with last week's driver of the day. It was Sado 15. He put on a fantastic performance in Long Beach and has now won 2 races this season. Now, I should probably run you through the championship standings. Let's scroll down and let's have a look at the current championship standings in the Drivers' Championship. So, Uncrewed Squid still leads the way on 852 points. And we'll just cut to Uncrewed Squid now. He's currently out on track with his teammate circulating behind him. He's on 852 points, followed by Shads. And Speed Racer rounds off the top 3. Sado, who's the only other driver to win this season, is currently 4th in the championship, followed by Highlander, RSJ, Triple Rotor Racing, Colonel Lloyd, Dark Racing 40, Taipan Samurai, Chuck Racing, Toddy V8 6, and Lucky Fives and Whopper. So that is the championship standings at the moment. So anyway, this is Sportsland Sugo. It is 3.738 on this circuit. Now, it may look like a simple circuit to deal with on the face of it. However, this is a much more challenging circuit than it would appear. It is one of the most intense laps on the Supercars calendar, probably second only to Bathurst. And you'll see that some of the drivers, they're sliding it through every single corner, and they are really, really pushing it. Now, let's have a look at the practice time so far. So currently, Shads is at the top of the timing sheets with a 1 minute 17.9. His teammate Uncrewed Squid is 1.2, followed by Highlander, Triple Rotor Racing, Dado. They're the only drivers to have set times so far. So, if you are watching in the chat at the moment, why don't you get involved with the action that's going on? Why don't you comment below and tell me what you're thinking. Oh, and there's on-track drivers back practice. These are the 2 Evil Knievel cars. They're currently 1-2 in the championship. And so far, Uncrewed Squid has been pretty unbeaten this entire season, and has been pretty unchallengeable apart from maybe Long Beach and Algarve. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, check the link in the description below. You have the opportunity to vote for your Aus-NZ driver of the day. And it looks like Shads and Uncrewed Squid are doing some drafting practice as Highlander goes quickest in the practice session. Regardless, if you're watching on YouTube, get involved with if you're watching on YouTube, get involved, vote in the Aus-NZ Combined Driver of the Day survey, and the winner of Driver of the Day will be announced at the next event. Now let's cut to Sado's teammate, the modelling team. This is Highlander in the number 4 car. He had a pretty poor weekend last time out, so he'll be looking to do a little bit better. However, he is setting some very, very competitive times in practice. He's actually faster than Shads, he's faster than Triple Rotor Racing, and he's faster than Uncrewed Squid. And he's also faster than his teammate Sado. However, expect there to be some sandbagging going on in practice. Now, bear with me here, I gotta actually send... I should probably promote the stream a bit, and which may involve me sending this to Discord and pinging everybody on Discord. So you might just have to bear with me. whilst I do some quick marketing in practice. So talk among yourselves, and I'm going to send this link to to various places on the internet, and I'll be sending it to the Discord and the Aus-NZ Combined Facebook page. Now, if you want to join, if you're liking the action you're seeing on track, you should definitely join Aus-NZ Combined. If you're Australian or you're a New Zealander and you want to get involved with the action, join the Facebook page. There's a link in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. Come and get involved with the action, because you'll have a great time, to say the very least. Now, if I just ping everybody on my Discord server, let me just do some marketing. This is the benefit of having a Discord server. You get to ping everybody, and that is done. And now I need to get on the Facebook page and do that. So let's have a look at the chat, if there is any, at the chatter. And currently no chat in the chat at the moment. Anyway, Highlander, with 8 minutes to go in the practice session, is leading the session so far. He is 2 tenths ahead of Shads, and he's currently he's driving very, very impressively. If he can carry this momentum into the qualifying session and the race, he could be on for a very, very good one tonight. Now, unfortunately, we only have a 9-driver field tonight, so let's have a look through the field. So, Highlander's currently leading practice, followed by Shads. Triple Rotor Racing, he's returning to the Lumensi car. Sato's currently in 5th. You'll recognise the Mondeling car. This car has been rather successful this year. Then it's Uncrewed Squid, who's currently 5th in practice. And Speed Race has just gone quickest with a 1 minute 16.8. Absolutely blistering time. Anyway, where was I? Yes, Uncrewed Squid. There he is. And there's RSJ. He's a regular in the series, number 48 Sport Drecker car. Then it's Dado, who I believe is actually... Well, I haven't seen Dado in a little while. Either I have dementia, or he's actually making his Supercars debut for 2019 tonight. And rounding off the field for tonight, of our 9 cars, it's Colonel Lloyd, who appears to have caved in his bonnet. Now, I should explain, there are a lot of places that you can go off and destroy your car at this track. Meanwhile, Sato goes second in practice, 3 tenths off Speed Racer. There are a lot of places around this track where you can go off and destroy your car. So, at the last corner, let's see if anyone's actually going through that last corner. Now, see this last corner? You saw some bollards on the inside there. Now, if you so much as brush those bollards, you will absolutely destroy your car. They are very, very unforgiving. You'll end up with aero damage and engine damage, and you do not want engine damage. Also, if you get up on the curbs, or if you abuse the curbs, you will be going for a ride as Triple Rotor Racing. He's very much testing the limits, going through turn 1. And as I said before, if you are enjoying the action and you want to get involved, you know, comment in the chat. Who do you think is going to win tonight, as Speed Racer is currently fastest and practice has come into the pit? Let's see if Sato goes any quicker than he has done so far. Oh, I think he might have just gone a bit quicker. Yes, he went a tenth quicker. Anyway, now let me just send this link to the chat. Well, not the chat, the Aus-NZ Combined Facebook group. Now, Highlander, let's see if he goes any quicker. He's currently 8 tenths off the fastest time, and no, he does not go any quicker. Ooh, Triple Rotor Racing taking advantage of the curves. That was a little bit optimistic. Now, let me just write this quick message. And I promise I will focus on the stream after I send this. Okay, you have my full attention. Anyway, right, so I should explain tonight I am doing all the directing work because I've not got any director, and I'm also doing all the commentating myself, so it might get a bit lonely in here, which is a little bit unfortunate. Hence why I need you to comment in the chat, so I don't feel loneliness. Anyway, Speed Racer, he looks like he might be on an outlap, because this looks a little bit too slow to be an actual lap. Anyway, Sado and Highlander have just come into the pits. They've decided not to set another lap at the present time, as has Shads. He believes that 5th place, well, it's good enough for the time being, and well, maybe they're making setup adjustments, I don't know. But it's only practice, so this doesn't really count for anything. It's qualifying where it really counts. And of course we have 2 races tonight. We've got the sprint race, which is what we're doing first, and the feature race. Now, if we go to tonight's calendar, we have the sprint race is 21 laps, which is short by comparison to the 45 lap race that we have around here afterwards. And you probably won't see any pit stops unless it's for damage in the sprint race, but you will definitely see pit stops in the feature race because it's mandatory to stop. Meanwhile, Speed Racer is on the absolute limit at the moment, so as we said before, he was just on an outlap before, and now he's really gunning for it around Sportsland Sugo. He's very, very sideways coming out of that corner, and I should actually learn the corner names. That would probably be a good idea. And okay, I've accidentally just switched to a page on the Super Taiku series, which has actually raced the Sportsland Sugo, so I suppose that's somewhat relevant. Let's see if we can get a map of Sportsland Sugo, and then we'll take you through a lap with Speed Racer, who is just coming around the final corner now. Be very wary of the bollards on the inside, as I said before. So, he's on the start-finish straight now, and he will be heading towards the first corner, which doesn't have a name according to this map. So, into turn 1, it's a double right-hander, and you don't want to get it too sideways through these couple of corners. You've got to keep it together. Now, out of the third corner into the hairpin curve. He rounds it now into this very, very tight but very fast chicane. You've got to use the curbs, but don't use them too much because it'll spit you off. Anyway, into High Point Corner, which leads directly into Rainbow Corner. We saw Speed Racer get a little bit sideways out of there on the last lap, and he doesn't this time buy it. Meanwhile, Lockie Fives has just joined the session, so we actually do have a 10-car field for tonight, which is good to see. Anyway, into Horseback Corner, which then leads into Spin. Apparently that's what it's called. Which then leads into Out. SP Out, but I'm calling it Out for no apparent reason. Anyway, into 100R, which then also leads into the final corner. As I said, watch out for the bollards on the inside because it'll destroy your car. Let's see if Speed Racer goes fastest, or goes faster rather, here in practice. He'll come across the line in a moment's time. Will it be better than a 16.5? It is better than a 16.5. It's a 16.3 for Speed Racer. That's a good lap, and that will probably have cemented him at the top of the standings for the time being, because I'm not sure if Sado will be able to go any faster. And it looks like Speed Racer will be... will Sado be able to find 5 seconds is the question. And it looks like Speed Racer's on another lap, as that looks like one of the Evil Knievels that were just pulling over. That is Shads, who may have found the wall at some point. And no, Sado comes in, so it doesn't look like Sado will try and chase Speed Racer's time. Meanwhile, Speed Racer is come back to pit road, as has Sado. Meanwhile, Highlander, absolutely on the limit, coming into the last couple of corners. Is he going to go for the fastest time in practice? He's currently 1 second off the pace, and he's looking very, very quick. He's carried a lot of speed up onto the start-finish straight. Will this be good enough for a faster time? He'll come across the line in a second. Is it better than a 17.3? It's a 17.1, but that still cements him in 3rd place in practice, which is a pretty good result. And Sado doesn't, well, Shads doesn't look like he's going to set a faster time, and ooh, he almost hits the pit wall, on the pit entrance wall, as Lockie has been unable to set a time. He joined very late in the session, and coincidentally has missed his opportunity, well, consequently has lost his opportunity to set a lap. So, there are a few cars still circulating, but they're all coming into pit road now. and Sato, he's just driving around on his cooldown lap. Meanwhile, Dado is actually on a flying lap at the moment. I think he just made it in at the end there, and that'll be invalidated. That'll most certainly be invalidated. So expect to see Dado pull into the pits. Dado currently sits 8th, 2.8 seconds off the pace, with Colonel Lloyd behind him is 4.3 seconds off the pace. Now this is a difficult track to master, so expect to see maybe some fast guys who haven't quite got the setup right, maybe spending the night at the back. Meanwhile, Dado looks like he's really pushing that car. It was a little bit sideways, but in a good kind of way, and he's really pushing it in the final corner. Let's see if this is good enough for anything better than 8th place. Now, I'm going to guess it was probably invalidated by going off, and he comes across the line, and it doesn't look like it was better than 8th place. So, Speed Racer, currently first. He was first in the practice session with a 1 minute 16.3. Then it was Sato, Highlander, Triple Rotor Racing, Uncrewed Squid, Shads, RSJ, Dado, Colonel Lloyd, and Lockie rounds off the field in practice. So, let's have a look at Speed Racer for the start of the qualifying session. This is when it really counts, and it sounds like a couple of cars are coming out onto the track now. Highlander, oh my goodness me. Highlander's having a moment. Let's get some timings up. This may be down to my internet, but it seems to have had a bit of what my friend, that Indo F1 guy, would call a bruh moment. And what I would call a bruh moment for that matter. Anyway, everything seems to have normalized, but Island just destroyed his car on the exit of pit road. Meanwhile, alright, who's fastest out on track? Shads is circulating, as is his teammate, Uncrewed Squid, I believe. Yes, he is. Uncrewed Squid is circulating, and he's got Shads just behind him. It'll be important to get some track position, some good track position, to set a fast time round here. Now let's have a look on board with Uncrewed Squid, shall we? Just to see what he's sort of seeing on the ground level. Now, this should be actually quite a difficult track to pass at, because while it actually looks quite wide, it really isn't. As you can see, Uncrewed Squid, they're having to use the curbs, but then again, also the curbs will kill you as well, so overtaking might be somewhat precarious, and that means that qualifying might be actually quite important. So Uncrewed Squid, we're on board with him right now. He's just come to start his lap, and he's got Colonel Lloyd in front of him. So, how will he clear Colonel Lloyd as Colonel Lloyd spins into turn 1 and Uncrewed Squid gets loose on the curb. Meanwhile, let's have a look at the trackside. Uncrewed Squid, yep, he is pushing that car very, very hard already. He's using the curbs, just as I said, through that very tight and very fast chicane. And that chicane is called what? That chicane is called the S-shaped curve. Which is basically the definition of a chicane. So very, very original naming. Japan. Excuse me. Double excuse me. It's amazing the things that I'll say when I'm alone in the commentary box. And you'll probably see that throughout the evening. And that's a ping. That's a ping on Discord. What's this for? Okay then. I am gonna turn down the audio on my Discord. Actually, I might just turn off the Discord there. Sorry, I said you had my undivided attention, and I shall keep to that word. Anyway, right, Shads, he's currently quickest in qualifying right now with 1 minute 17.1. However, that probably won't be fast enough for pole because Uncrewed Squid, sorry, Speed Racer will probably come and set a faster time. However, Shad's still on provisional pole, and he looks like he's about to go and try and set a faster lap. Meanwhile, some of the other guys, they're setting laps as well. Triple Rotor Racing with a 17.5. Speed Racer currently with a 17.6. However, we're expecting him to go quicker. RSJ with an 18.2. Dado with an 18.9, and he's in the Lumensi seat. Now, these Lumensi cars have seen a lot of action this year, more action than we probably ever could have expected. So, watch out for the Lumensi cars. You never really know what they're going to deliver. Sato, he's currently in with a 19.3, however, expect him to go quicker as the session progresses. Highlander is currently with a 32.3, which is not representative at all. And considering the massive dents on the front of his car, he may have run into some issues. Meanwhile, Shads, he's out on an outlap, so we may have to wait a while. Oh, an uncrewed squid off at the final corner. Just as I cut to him, and he wafts into the wall basically, and he's 2/100ths of a second off, well 3/100ths of a second off Shads at the moment. Just as Sato goes quickest with a 1:15.9. That's an absolutely superb lap time, and that's the quickest of the weekend we've seen so far. I'm not sure about the practice times. I didn't see the practice times from the middle of the week, but whatever the case, Shads comes across the line, and I believe this is just to start his flying lap now. He's 1.2 seconds off the pace of Sato at the moment, but don't expect it to stay that way. Uncrewed Squid, he's out on another outlap, presumably after having damaged his car. Highlander, he's in 4th at the moment, and he's currently within a 10th of Uncrewed Squid at the moment, and if this lap will be any faster, he'll probably go into 2nd place, because I don't think any of the times are representative so far. So, Highlander coming up the hill, will this be better than a 17.2, or will this be an outlap? Let's find out. So, Highlander across the line, and it's good enough for 2nd place, the 1:17.0. However, that's still 1.1 seconds off the provisional poleman, Sato. However, it currently is a Mondoli in 1-2, which really isn't something we haven't said a lot this season. I wouldn't mind seeing somebody else with a 1-2 at the moment. Let's see if Mondoli will be able to get a 1-2 tonight. Anyway, Shads is rounding the final corner, which this lap will pretty much certainly be a faster lap than what he has set so far, unless that runoff at the last corner has anything to say about it, and it is quicker. It's a 16.7 for Shads, which puts him 2nd place, 8/10ths off Sato's pace, with 3 minutes to go in the session. So, and he's also pulled into pit road. Meanwhile, Sato's looking to go faster. However, this is looking a little bit too slow to be a flying lap, so let's just see how he does. Will he improve? It doesn't look like he has. Alright, so with Shads in the pits, it's up to Highlander and Uncrewed Squid to see if they can set a faster time. However, Shads thinks he can get another really fast lap in. He must have made a setup change, and now he's going out on track to see if that setup change has worked. So, it'll be a qualifying session that comes down to, well, it looks like it's going to come down to the final minute, which is pretty much what happened in Long Beach. That qualifying session in Long Beach was a very, very exciting one and kept us on our toes. So we might see something similar again to that of what we saw at Long Beach. So Shads is on his flying lap at the outlap at the moment, as is Sato. Just warming up their tires. It will be, unless Uncrewed Squid can go faster, which it looks like he is about to go faster, but he doesn't actually improve, so he might have just started his flying lap at the moment. I want to watch Uncrewed Squid, and it's good that I'm in control totally in control for tonight, which is not, well, it's a first for this season anyway. It wouldn't be the first time. Anyway, Uncrewed Squid, this man, potentially in a place to get pole position. However, his car has not looked very fast tonight. However, we suspect sandbagging. So, Uncrewed Squid, this is a flying lap now. However, at the moment, he is not looking as fast as we've seen the front runners looking so far. So, Uncrewed, let's see how he negotiates the final sector as he comes into the horseback corner, into spin, which I'm expecting some people to spin at tonight, and into out. I promise you I haven't smoked weed before this. Anyway, Speed Racer moves himself up to 2nd place, which bumps Uncrewed Squid down to 5th. But will Uncrewed Squid go faster? So we might have a 5-way battle at the top at the end of qualifying. Let's see if Uncrewed Squid can go quicker. Will it be better than a 17.2? It is better than a 17.2, and it puts him into third place and immediately down to fourth, because Highlander has just done a time that's worthy of second place. It's a 1 minute 16.4, but he's still 0.6 of a second off Sado. However, he's still got 54 seconds, which means he's got time for one more lap, which means we might see a new pole man. Meanwhile, Sado thinks that 1 minute 15.9 is enough, and it probably is, as Uncrewed Squid's looped the car, so he won't be able to go quicker. So it's all down to either Speed Racer or Highlander. Now, Speed Racer, he's in the final sector of the track, and his car is looking pretty on the limit right now, so let's see if he can potentially grab pole position. He's currently with a 1 minute 16.6. He's 0.2 off Highlander and 0.7 off Sado. Can he do it? Can he clinch pole position? Will it be Speed Racer for Besmoni? He crosses the line, and it's good enough for second. He's 0.5 off Sado at the moment, but that means that Highlander and Speed Racer are very close in qualifying, and this will be Highlander's final lap, and Speed Racer has just started his final lap. Will Highlander go quicker than Speed Racer? Highlander has teleported back to the pits, so Highlander will not have the opportunity to go quicker. So he has locked himself into third place unless Shads can pull a miracle result out of the bag. So it's all down to Speed Racer here in qualifying. This will be his final lap, and it looks like Shads is going for one as well. So the pole position is still up for grabs. We have two of the fastest drivers in the league who are on the hunt, who are trying to chase down that pole position. Speed Racer into the final section of track. He's only got the final corner to navigate. How will he do it? This looks like it might be a fast one. I can't quite tell. If it looks slower, is it faster? We're about to find out. Speed Racer is about to cross the line. Will it be pole position? Not quite. He's only 0.4 off Sado, but it looks like he's locked it in, and that is the end of the session. So, Sado, he's qualified on the pole, followed by Speed Racer and Highlander, and quite controversially, neither of the Evil Knievels are in the top three. Shads is in fourth place out of his teammate Uncrewed Squid. Triple Rudder Racing is in sixth place, followed by RSJ in seventh, and Colonel Lloyd in eighth, Data Racer in ninth, and Lockie rounds off the grid. And with that sort of a grid, with two Mondelin cars in the top three, and Speed Racer and the Besmone car in second place, these are a few guys that haven't either scored pole or haven't... Well, Sado scored pole, but these guys haven't been towards the front. And it's quite interesting to see that the Evil Knievels are not in the top three, which is something we haven't really seen, I don't think, at all this season. So, that being said, we are about to start the sprint race for round 4 of the Aus-NZ combined Supercars Championship. Speed Racer starts on the pole position, followed by... Sado starts on the pole, followed by Speed Racer, Highlander, Shads, Uncrewed Squid, Triple Rotor Racing, RSJ, Colonel Lloyd, Dado, and Lockie rounds off the field. And I like how the camera is placed there, because it allows us to go through the grid in a rather professional manner. So, Sado will lead the field away from Speed Racer. And with the qualifying that we've had, it means that Shads and Uncrewed Squid are going to have to make their way through the top 3. And that should be interesting to see. We know that these guys can be quick as soon as they get into clean air, but can they be quick in the dirty air? Can they be quick behind the top 3, and can they get past, this top 3? It should be very, very interesting to see how today's events unfold. We're only a few moments away from it now. The timer will be counting down in the countdown screen, so the drivers will be finalizing their setups for the race. And if they're all ready up before that timer runs out, we'll go to green as early as possible. It looks like they might just keep us waiting for now. If you're watching on YouTube, remember, the survey's in the description. Vote for your Aus-NZ driver of the day, and it will be announced at the next race of the season, which is at Watkins Glen, which should be a very interesting one. However, our focus is turned to Sportsland Sugo, as we're about to go racing on the 1-year anniversary of Project Cars 2. The lights are coming on. Let's get ready to do it here at Sportsland Sugo. Sado hasn't got the start he wanted. He's got a bit of wheel spin, and he's gone to cut off Speed Racer. Speed Racer looks like he's going to make a move into turn 1 as Sado runs wide, and that opens up the door for his teammate Highlander to try and squeeze through. The two modelling cars are side by side, but we have a new leader of the race. Speed Racer has gotten just the start he wanted. He's up into first place. Meanwhile, the original pole man, he's under pressure from his teammate Highlander, who's under pressure for the two Evel Knievel cars, and Sado has gone right off the track. This is not the start he wanted. Meanwhile, Colonel Lloyd looked like he was lagging a lot there. I'm not entirely sure what happened. But Sado, that was not the start he wanted, and it's put him slightly behind Sado already, and now he's under pressure from Highlander, his teammates, and it looks like the Evel Knievels might be getting ready to follow him through. There's 2 rows of 2 wide, and Sado, he touched the grass, but he's still managing to hold it around the outside of Highlander. Can he hold it on the inside? Now, Highlander goes around the outside, but off the track. This is not the start that Mondelin wanted. And meanwhile, Uncrewed Squid, he's in the mix. Highlander is now being swamped by the cars behind him. And all the while, Speed Racer, he's been able to pull out a 2.7 second gap to the pack behind him. Meanwhile, Sado will soon be under pressure from Uncrewed Squid, and it looks like a few other drivers might be getting into the mix as well. There's a few battles going on behind him. Triple Rotor Racing, he's trying a move on Shads, and it looks like he's made it work. So Shads already dropping down the field. This is not what he wanted, so a few guys have gotten better starts than others. Speed Racer still leading at the front of the field with a 2-second advantage. Oh, and Uncrewed Squid, he's gone off the road, which will open up the door to Highlander. This is what we talked about. This is a very narrow track, and if you make a mistake, you're either going off into the grass, into the gravel, or into a wall. And that little off-track excursion has given Highlander the opportunity to get a run, and it looks like Triple Rotor Racing might be under pressure from Shads. But Uncrewed Squid, he's currently being challenged by Highlander in the Mondelin car, and Highlander appears to have gotten a better run out of the third to last corner than Uncrewed Squid has. Can he chase him up the hill? Let's see how this works for him. Highlander using the slipstream of of Uncrewed Squid. Uncrewed Squid tries to break it. Will Highlander go for a move in turn 1? Squid defends the inside. Can Highlander make it work around the outside? Squid's doing a pretty good job to defend against Highlander, but all the while, this is giving Speed Racer up the front a chance to escape. And it looks like RSJ might be joining the scrap. RSJ's done pretty well so far to get himself into 5th place. Meanwhile, problems for Shads. He's down in 9th, and problems for Lockie as well. And I think somebody's disconnected. I'm going to try and work out how that was. We have Speed Racer, we have Sado, we have Uncrewed Squid, we have Highlander, we have RSJ, we have Colonel Lloyd. We have lost Dado. So Dado, the first retiree from the race, we are down to 9 runners left. So Sado, he's pulled out a gap to the drivers, to Uncrewed Squid behind him, but he has lost time to Speed Racer, who's extended his gap to nearly 3 seconds. Let's have a look what's going on track. So RSJ, he's currently in 5th place. Highlander starting to pull away. Now, what's happening throughout the rest of the field? Colonel Lloyd up in 6th place. Shads, it's not the start he wanted. I suspect he had a spin somewhere at the start of the race, which has put him in 7th place. This will really, really hurt his championship hopes. This has not been the season for Shads. Now, who is close on track at the moment? The timing screens are a little bit off at the moment. I'm going to try and work out work that out. So, RSJ looks like he might just be closing in on Highlander, who's closing in on Uncrewed Squid. Now, I should explain, Shads has not had the greatest start of the season. He retired from the feature race in Algarve because he ran out of fuel on the final lap of the race. He has also had a couple of other dodgy races as well, and this might be another one of those dodgy races, which means the Uncrewed Squid will be able to extend his gap at the top of the standings, and that begs the question, where will that put Speed Racer, who is currently in the lead of the race, into the championship? So Speed Racer might be, if this night goes well for him, might be about to propel himself into second place in the championship. Meanwhile, the gap between Speed and Sado, it's 2 seconds. Uncrewed Squid's a bit further back with a 5-second gap. Highlander is now starting to fall into the clutches of RSJ, who is in 5th place. So Colonel Lloyd, he's hanging there in 6th place, with Shads chasing him down, who's in 7th. Lockie's in 8th, and Triple Rudder Racing is in 9th position. So RSJ, he is chasing down Highlander at the moment, and I believe this is probably the closest battle on track at the moment. If Highlander makes even the tiniest mistake, RSJ might be able to find his way into 4th position. So, RSJ in the slipstream of Highlander. I think he might just be close enough for an outside dive bomb move. However, I know it's the sprint race, but it's still very early on. Meanwhile, Triple Rudder Racing coming onto pit road. This must be damage. I'm assuming he might have run into a bit of trouble at the start of the race, and that is very, very costly for him. You don't really want to be making pit stops during the sprint race. So Highlander, he's secured himself currently in 4th place. However, he still has RSJ for company behind him. Now, Highlander, he's proven himself this season to be one of the best defensive drivers in the field. He can hold off a driver, even on worn tyres, for lap after lap after lap. And if RSJ can get close to him, we'll probably see more of the same action that we saw at Fuji Speedway here on our second outing here at Sportsland Sugo. Watch this space. Meanwhile, what's going on up front? Sado is he's just hanging 2 seconds behind Speed Racer at the moment. Nothing to report there. However, this is the battle to watch out for. RSJ is most certainly closing the gap to Highlander. However, that being said, he is closing the gap to a brick wall. Highlander is not an easy man to overtake, and he's proven that time and time again this season. Now, it all depends on how well RSJ drives. So into the final corner. Looks like Highlander might have just pulled out a little bit of a gap in the final corner. The gap is about a second between RSJ and Highlander. And that so far is the closest battle on track. So I'll be watching the timing screens. However, the timing screens have a tendency to be misleading on occasion. But I'm going to trust it for the time being and say this is the closest battle on track at the moment, and this is what we should be watching. So if you're watching the stream, I encourage you to get involved, to comment in the chat, and I will most certainly answer pretty much anything that you say. So let's have a look at lap times, if these two aren't very close together. So, Speed Racer, who I have concerningly bad connection to, is leading the race, and his fastest lap is a 1:17.4. However, the fastest man on track at the moment, and who has also set the fastest lap of the race, is Sado with a 1:17.2. And that is the fastest lap of the race so far. There are a few drivers with time penalties. Highlander's already picked himself up a 2-second penalty, so that might play a factor in the closing stages of the race if RSJ can stay within 2 seconds of Highlander. Colonel Lloyd has also picked himself up a 2-second penalty, and to add insult to injury, Triple Rotor Racing has also picked himself up a 1-second penalty as Highlander runs wide. You don't want to make mistakes like that. You do not want to make mistakes like that. It will just give the opportunity for RSJ to close in, and also Highlander needs to extend this gap because he's got a 2-second penalty. However, RSJ all over the back of Highlander right now, and he looks like he's going to try and make a move into the high point corner, and will he try one into Rainbow? Meanwhile, Colonel Lloyd is in the mix of this battle as well, and looks like he wants to make a move on RSJ. So the race is heated up again on lap 8. And Colonel Lloyd is right in the slipstream of RSJ. Will he go for a move into horseback corner? No, he won't. However, it's a 3-way battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th at the moment. So it's suddenly kicked off on lap 8. So obviously that mistake for Highlander was very costly. However, from an entertainment perspective, it is stonks. It is major stonks right now. And that might just be the most unprofessional thing I've ever said. But whatever the case, it's on like Donkey Kong, because Colonel Lloyd is in the slipstream of RSJ and might make a move into turn 1. He pulls to the inside. Will it be a dive bomb move? No, he won't. He sensibly tucks in behind RSJ, and RSJ a little bit wide in turn 1. You don't want to make mistakes like that, because it's just opening the door for Colonel Lloyd and letting Highlander escape. Meanwhile, the battle, it's 1.5 seconds at the front. Sato has closed the gap to Speed Racer. We will watch that space. Meanwhile, Shads looks like he might be back in the mix in the next few laps if he drives quick and joins the back of this battle in the midfield. And RSJ now in the slipstream of Highlander. Is he close enough to make a move? He's within a second now. Will he make a dive bomb move into horseback corner? No, he won't. He slots in behind Highlander. He gets himself on the grass a little bit, but that doesn't seem to have affected him. However, which one of these guys is looking quickest at the moment? And Wormhold is asking, can I get rid of the graphics on the bottom of the screen? Unfortunately not, because we don't have a race director for this week. However, I think your attention will be drawn away from the graphics, because Colonel Lloyd is making a move on RSJ. They're side by side going down the start-finish straight. Will Colonel Lloyd make it through in turn 1? He's on the inside. He's in a perfect position to do so, and he's made the move stick by the looks of things. However, will RSJ do the switchback? No, he can't, because Colonel Lloyd covers off the inside. Meanwhile, the gap up front is back to about 2 seconds. However, the gap here is very, very close, because RSJ is right all over the back of Colonel Lloyd at the moment. And coming out of what's RSJ's run going to be like coming out of Rainbow Corner? Is he close enough to make a move on Colonel Lloyd into horseback corner? However, it should be said, you can see the Evil Knievel car of Shads in the background, which means if these guys keep on battling, we might see Fastman Shads back into play in the next couple of laps as RSJ makes a mistake. He got himself up on the curve, and then... oh, and Colonel Lloyd's made a mistake as well. And RSJ's looped it. Okay, it's all kicked off right about now, and Shads has gone up into 6th place. So that's disappointing from Highlander. That was 2 very costly mistakes at the same time. Meanwhile, Colonel Lloyd's little mistake is going to give Shads the opportunity to close in. So Shads is currently 4 seconds adrift of Colonel Lloyd. Excuse me, I seem to be very, very windy tonight. I don't know exactly why. Oh, and thank you for Wormhole for saying keep up the good work. I very much appreciate that. Anyway, Colonel Lloyd, he is trying to stay on the back of Highlander at the moment. However, well, he's a second adrift of Highlander. But whatever the case, this sort of battling and these mistakes that we've seen from these few drivers, it's so far been rather costly, because it's giving the opportunity for Shads, who had a difficult start to the race, to close back up. We're on lap 11 or lap 21. Just, I think we're just coming into 10 to go here. And Colonel Lloyd running wide again. That might be a slowdown penalty, and if it is, it'll be costly. You don't want to be making mistakes like these. You just cannot, because Shads will exploit every single one of them. Meanwhile, so RSJ, yeah, he's dropped off the back a little bit here. Shads is just rejoining the mix of the midfield battle. Colonel Lloyd, he's currently in 5th place, and he's made another mistake. His car got fishtaily, and you don't want that. So Colonel Lloyd is dropped, I believe, 3 seconds. Yeah, 3 seconds back from Highlander, and Colonel Lloyd, he's almost looped it. He's cutting across the chicane. Will Shads be able to get by? He's put himself in a perfect position to do so. Will Shads make a move into maybe Rainbow Corner if he can throw it up the inside? He had a little bit of a look, but he's not going to do it. Now, how's his run going to be onto the back straight? Will he make a move into Horseback Corner? Shads is now back in the mix for the midfield battle. This is the battle for 5th and 6th position. Colonel Lloyd, he's cracking under the pressure here a bit. Colonel Lloyd also was the first man to beat Shads to a special event this year. And he's just cut across the corner there. It's unusual for us to see Colonel Lloyd cracking under pressure like this and have a difficult weekend like he has. And Colonel Lloyd's slow in the last corner. And Shads nearly runs into the back of him, but he's still gone through. Meanwhile, Colonel Lloyd almost came to a stop, which has given RSJ an opportunity to go through. That might have been a slowdown penalty. Actually, yeah, it would have been a slowdown penalty, just as we suspected. So, obviously, that's proven costly, which has put Shads up in 5th place, which will now mean he is on the hunt for Highlander, who I'm not entirely sure. Well, he's only 4 seconds ahead of him. And considering the pace of Shads, that might be a gap he is perfectly capable of closing. So, Shads in a 5th place and will now be chasing down a Highlander, which means that the closest battle on track at the moment is well, Colonel Lloyd is reeling in RSJ against. We'll watch that space. However, regardless, the closest battle on track at the moment is the battle for the lead. So, Zato, he's currently a man in 2nd place, Speed Racer. If Speed Racer can win today, he will become the 3rd driver in the 2019 season to be able to win a Supercars race. However, Sato, if he can reel in 2 seconds or if he makes a mistake, he is perfectly capable of reeling him in. And how will Uncrewed Squid factor into this as well? Meanwhile, I can't quite tell what the gap is here between Highlander and Shads, because the timing screens are being, well, slightly elusive tonight. Whatever the case, this is your pole man. So Shads unching was a, and he's currently, I think they're pretty consistent at the moment. Let's have a look at some lap times. So Sato is far slower than race. Sato's, oh sorry, no, wait, I've just, okay, Sato's lap, so he's from Speed Racers. However, 2/10 of a second faster than Sato's. Time penalty, and internet connections are worried bad to all the other drivers at the moment. Oh god, I almost just quit. No, don't do that. That would be a bad thing to do. Anyway, whatever the case. So, Speed Racer and Sato are going pretty much blow for blow at the moment. However, Sato seems to be reeling in Speed Racer. But at the moment, people like me leaving, especially has on him if anything of the sort happens. So let's hope that was a bit of a lapse, and it's not looking good. Well, okay, it'll be a race between my internet and also the race on the track. Anyway, right back to the gap, which is occasionally dabbling into 9/10. worrying quality is deteriorating, so this isn't good. Oh, run track a bit. I apologize, the stream quality is slightly deteriorating. I don't know what's going on right now. I hope it's stabilized to some degree. Well, let's pray it's stabilized to some degree. Oh no, this is not looking good. Okay, this has now become a commentary, and I'm now beginning to sweat and hoping that my internet holds out at least until the end of the race. And also during the feature race as well, because it's starting to look slightly dodgy, and I really don't want it to do that. Whatever the case, let's hope this helps. Anyway, battle up front. It's between Sato and Speed. 0.5 of a second. Sato's done very, very well to actually close in on Speed Racer. And Sato's actually within touching distance of Speed Racer at the moment. On lap 17 of 21. Will it be Speed Racer to become the second winner, well, the third winner of the 2019 season? Or will Sato a third race of the season? We'll find out in a moment's time, and we'll find out to see if we can actually if our internet will actually hold on to the end of this. Which is slightly, well, the internet say otherwise, but we're a battle on track for second. This battle is now happening with between Speed Racer and Sato within half a second of each other. So, a battle for the lead going into the final stages of the race. Sato, dive bomb it behind Speed Racer at the moment. However, the gap's within 0.3 of a second there. So this is going to be very, very close. Will Sato make a move? No, he won't. Speed Racer covers off the inside into the chicane. What will Speed Racer and Sato's run be like out of it? Sato appears to have had the better run. Will he make a move into the next two turns? Going now into the rainbow corner. Will he pull inside and try and make a move work? Oh, Sato pulling to the inside of the back straight. Will he make a move into horseback corner? He's in the slipstream. Will he make a dive bomb move? No, he won't. He sensibly sits in behind Speed Racer. He's just hanging behind him at the moment, and Speed Racer will see that modelling car in his mirrors, which will put him under immense amount of pressure. This is a battle for the win here, and a win would mean so much to either of these two guys. Stage in the championship, it would be a race. Never mind the championship. 1-2-1, and so be fighting to win that as we start lap 91. Sato, will his run out of the chicane be better than Speed Racer's? It looks like it might just be. Speed Racer is slow out of that chicane, and Sato, he's definitely capitalizing off of it. So Sato, he had a look to the inside there, but he didn't make it work. Now in the slipstream, he is definitely within a touching distance of Speed Racer. Will he make a move into the horseback corner? No, he won't just yet. He's still just trying to force Speed Racer into some kind of mistake. We're about to be starting lap 20, so we're running out of laps. Well, Sato is running out of laps to make a move work. Up the hill now. Whose run will be better? Will it be Speed Racer or Sato's? Bit of the slipstream, and he's using it to great effect on Speed Racer at the moment. Speed Racer will most likely have to defend into the first corner if Sato makes a move. However, Sato not making a move into turn one. This time Brian Sato runs wide. If that's a slowdown penalty, that might have just cost him the win. It doesn't look like it was, because it doesn't look like Sato slowed up. Meanwhile, Speed Racer runs a tiny bit wide and dips a wheel into the dirt through the chicane. This is where Speed Racer's slow. We're on lap 20 or 21. Will Sato make a move into the next couple of corners? I don't think he likes to try and moves into Rainbow, as he hasn't done all race. So, will it be a move into the horseback corner? He's run wide out onto the green stuff there on the curb. I'm not sure if that constitutes a slowdown penalty, but if Sato were to get a slowdown penalty now, that would probably be the end of his challenge for the win. However, he's still holding it just behind Speed Racer. We're on lap 20 or 21. We're running out of laps to do. He's running out of laps to do it, and it's the battle for the lead. This is gonna go down to the wire into the final corner. Sato appears to have taken the tighter line and appears to have a better run than Speed Racer up the hill. He'll be in the slipstream of Speed Racer and he'll be able to pass for the lead on the final lap if he's going to make it work. We start lap 21 of 21. It's 1 lap to go. Will Sato go for it in turn 1? No, he doesn't. Oh, yes, he does. He uses Speed Racer's back bumper, but that means that Sato himself is actually, and if he picks up a slowdown penalty on this final lap, that will pretty much mean the end of his challenge for the lead of the race. However, it appears that he hasn't gotten a slowdown penalty and he's just sticking it with Speed Racer at the moment. They are within half a second of each other now, and either Sato has to do it, well, I believe actually he has to do it into the horseback corner. He has to make a dive bomb move work. He's in the slipstream of Speed Racer at the moment. Can Speed Racer hold on for this final lap? Will Sato make a move into the horseback corner? Will it be a move from far back? No, it won't. And Sato's run wide. He's run back wide in the horseback corner. That'll cost him a world of time. It's actually cost him a second. And Speed Racer, he's got the gap coming into the final few corners, and he's just got the run up the hill to go. And I think Sato is too far back. That little mistake has cost him the lead of the win of the race, which means Speed Racer will come across the line to win his first Supercars race of the season, with Sato for Team Mondelez coming home in second. And Uncrewed Squid, he's just crossing the line to round off the podium, and he's the only Evel Knievel car on the podium. In fact, the only Evel Knievel car in the top 3. Sato's teammate Highlander will come home for a very respectable 4th place, and Shads has done a good job to make a comeback and drive it home to 3rd position. So there is Shads crossing the line at the moment. Let's see if there's any celebrations happening up front. There's your race winner. And he's done an absolutely amazing job. Led almost from start to finish, has dealt with the pressure from one of the quickest drivers in the field, and has held on to win his first ever, well, not the first ever Supercars, well, it might be, I don't know, but he's held on to win his first Supercars race of the 2019 season. And I believe that's almost every driver now. Colonel Lloyd coming across the line to finish, and Triple Rotor Racing will be the last guy to take the checkered flag. And Speed Racer attempting a donut there, but he didn't get one done. So it's and thankfully our internet held on. So Speed Racer, he took victory at the end. Highlander, Shads, RSJ, Lockie, Colonel Lloyd, Triple Rotor Racing, and Dado Racer rounds off the field. It was Sato who picked up the fastest lap of the race with a very impressive 1 minute 17.1, which actually equaled some of these guys' qualifying pace. So that, oh, and Dado Racer was disqualified. And that's unfortunate for the 2 Lamency cars. But there's always race 2, so don't go away. We have another stream in a few minutes' time. Oh, and Colonel Lloyd, that was very, very costly for him, that 5-second penalty, because it's actually put him down in 8th position, which means RSJ and Lockie move up to 6th and 7th respectively. That 2-second penalty for Highlander has not been very costly at all, and it has just meant that he's finished in 4th place. So that ends our stream for the time being. It was a good one. But now we're going to end this stream, but do not go away, because we will be back in a few moments' time for the feature race. Don't go away, we'll see you then.